So I wanted to tap in and do a grade for the core of the Detroit Pistons through the first quarter of the season. And I wanted to do this because I think it's really easy to get caught up in like a recency bias and, just look at from game to game, whether we're super excited, whether super disappointed, where we think it's a catastrophe and a train wreck, or we think, the future is bright and hopeful. And I think that there's a moment to like pause and be like, yo, what are we doing? Where are we really at? What is this core really looking like? And so I want to do that in this video. But before I do, this video is brought to you by Bridges and Stones Family and Relationship Care. The holidays can be tough for a lot of us, whether it's distance from family, relationship issues, social isolation, or struggling to adapt to the weather of this season. Depression and loneliness can get to us all. This season doesn't have to be something to dread. It can also be your opportunity to learn coping skills and the steps you need to move into healthier relationships. So contact Bridges and Stones today for a free consultation with a professional coach to get the support that you need. Don't struggle alone. The link is in the description box below. So when I think about grading the core of this Pistons roster, I want to start off with actually pointing out what the core is. And I think that it's important to because sometimes as fans, as critics, we get kind of conflated in who is actually a part of this team's future and who is on the team, right? So, for example, how you designate your core is you look at your star player, you look at the best player on the team, and then you say, okay, who are the players whose timeline best coincide with this player? So if your player is 25, you're looking at players who are possibly anywhere between 24 and 29, right? You want to go about 3 years up, maybe a year at the most down. And the reason why you only go a year at the most down at the age of 25 is because you're entering your prime at 25. Now, if your best player is 22, they're nowhere near their prime. They're about 3-4 years away from their prime, in which case guys that are 26, 27, 28 who are in their prime would not be a part of the timeline of your best player unless you feel like they're a Luka Doncic type transcendent, immediate superstar type of a player, in which case they can be a part of that prime if that superstar young player is ready to win right now. But that's not where the Detroit Pistons are at. Cade Cunningham is 22, 23 years old. He's young. And I want to start off with acknowledging Cade Cunningham's age. Cade Cunningham is 23 years old. So you're looking at guys who are maybe 3 to 4 years above, because I would say that Cade Cunningham is about to step into that all-star level of play, in which case he is going to be ready to win now. Now, I don't think he's there yet. I think, and I'm going to get into that in a moment, but it's to say that that's the range, 3 to 4 years older than him. So anywhere between 25, 26, 27 at the most. And then you can go down maybe 1 or 2 years because Cade Cunningham is still about a year away before he's in that let's start winning space, right? So Asar Thompson makes the cut. Jaden Ivey makes the cut. Jalen Duren, I'm going to get to him, kind of barely might be making the cut. So let's get into it. These are the players that I believe are a part of the actual core of this team. The first one, of course, the aforementioned Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is 23 years old. He looks like he's going to be an all-star next year. He looks great, right? For all intents and purposes, for all the lack in areas of growth, he looks great. Secondly, Jaden Ivey, 22 years old. He looks like he is emerging, right? He looks a little gassed recently because he's trying to hold down the entire perimeter defense of this team, doing an admirable job, but his offense is suffering a little bit. But I think he's going to work that out, figure it out, pick his spots, et cetera, et cetera. He's a part of the core. The next guy that I have as a part of the core, and some of you guys, and I am actually kind of ranking this, is Asar Thompson. I think Asar Thompson, his feel for the game, his basketball IQ, what he brings on both ends of the court, and his emerging talent, meaning seeing him become point Asar Thompson was something I did not foresee. And if he can play point guard, if he can even be Andre Iguodala level point guard, what he brings now is completely different. He now emerges as a immensely valuable piece, even more valuable than I would have thought he would have been beforehand, which was right up there with Cade before Ivey, seeing Ivey this season. So I think he's number 3. Number 4 is Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren at 21 years old is still growing. He's in his 3rd season. Remember, he came in as one of the youngest players in the NBA when he was drafted. He has a steep learning curve. Keep in mind, learning the center position is one of the hardest positions to learn for big men in the NBA. For players, period. If you are playing the center position, the back line of the defense, you have to figure out how to guard these shifty point guards and wing players who get downhill, who know how to get into your body. You have to figure out how to stay vertical on challenging shots, when to challenge, when to back off, drop coverage, getting up. Like, there's so much you have to learn on the defensive end, setting right screens that you got to stand still on. But your point guard is faster than any other point guard you've ever played with, right? And so you got to time it even better. And then you got defenders who are shiftier. There's so much to learn. So 21 years old, he's still growing. The next 2 guys that I have is Isaiah Stewart and Marcus Sasser. Marcus Sasser is 24 years old. Isaiah Stewart, 23 years old. This is the core. Ron Holland is 19. I think he's going to be a part of the core as well. I'm betting and leaning on that. Seeing his emerging 3-point shot, which I was very confident in. Some of y'all said he couldn't shoot, right, and wanted Matas Buzelis instead, which I wouldn't have been mad at, but I thought Ron Holland had the highest ceiling. And what I'm seeing so far is that boy got a high ceiling, and I'm going to get into him later. So that's the core so far. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, Marcus Sasser, Isaiah Stewart, and Ron Holland. That's 7 guys. This is not even mentioning a Bobby Clinton, who looked great in Summer League. He looked great in Summer League, right? He looked like he could become a better version of Tobias Harris, right? He looked great. And he's only 21 years old, 2 years younger than Cade. And then you also have what's his name? Wendell Morris, 23. I actually like him a lot. But I don't know if there's room for him on this team. Between Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Marcus Sasser, I don't know if there's room. But I like him. I like him nonetheless. All that's to say is that when we look at this core, we have to start thinking, where are they at now and where are they trending towards? And who's trending in the right direction? So first off, let me say Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham, I made this comparison recently, and I said to myself, he reminds me of a young Stephen Curry. He reminds me of a young Stephen Curry because Steph, coming to the league, he was an undersized shooting guard at about 6'4". But as much as he displays point guard skills, even at Davidson, he was best playing next to an actual consummate point guard, despite having point guard skills. And in which case, I can't help but see the same tendencies and dynamics with Cade Cunningham. That they are, one, extremely feel-based scorers, meaning that they get into a rhythm and they move within the flow of the offense, naturally getting the ball, finding the crevices, getting downhill, not necessarily through a speed burst, even though they have quickness, but it's not necessarily elite quickness, but it's more so their ability to contort their body and to have enough body control and extremely soft touch and feel to get their shot off and to be able to score. But despite having an elite handle, the ability to handle the ball and get to where they want to go, they don't have the concentration with their handle to keep from getting into trouble. In other words, they play with their food. They play with the ball too much. They don't necessarily determine what they want to do with the ball as soon as they get it and what the purpose it is for them even putting the ball on the floor in the first place. they're far more suited for being almost solely focused on scoring and then playmaking out of that, right? With Stephen Curry, yes, he can get you 7 to 12 assists in a game at any given night, which is beautiful. But if you ask him to be your full-time point guard, your offensive system is probably going to suffer, because not only does he play with the ball a little bit, and he's gotten far better. I mean, now he's 36 years old, right? He's been in the league for, 13 years now. He is not the same player who was turning the ball over nonstop. So he shored up a lot of those things, but he's still an errant passer. He still takes risks with the ball. He still sees it and then blinks and throws it before double checking. All right. He doesn't necessarily see the entire court with the defenders playing angles, and he takes chances with the ball. And over time, throughout the course of a game, it can really, really hurt your team. And so he's better off next to a Draymond Green. All that's to say is he's still elite. He's still going to be great. But you're kind of seeing the writing on the wall. You're going to need some other guys to handle those point guard responsibilities, just like Sean Livingston did with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala. You did not have Steph being your primary initiator of your offense, right? He did, but he wasn't the primary. The next player, the grade I want to give Cade Cunningham through this first 20-some-odd games is, I'd probably say, an A. Right? He's showing that he can be an elite scorer. He's showing that he can be an elite facilitator. He's showing you everything that you want from your number one pick, that he can be elite. He can be elite. He can be all NBA potentially. He's going to be an all-star for a long time. So this is somebody that you're going to build around. He's the cornerstone. The next guy, Jaden Ivey. I'm giving an A minus B plus. A minus to B plus, more so because of his recent trend of games. A lot of back-to-backs, and of course the Pistons have been playing, leading the league in how many games played already through this early portion of the season. But he has accepted playing within the team scheme. He's accepted the coaching of J.B. Bickerstaff. He's become a two-way guy, which is it's such a godsend for this team. On top of that, he's also showing that he is elite at getting downhill to the rim. He can collapse your defense, but he can also spread you out. Similar to, he's almost like a super-sized Eric Gordon, which I compared him to earlier this offseason, where he's elite at getting to the rim and elite at shooting from deep. He's got great range and great burst getting to the rim, and the physicality and the strength to be able to finish through contact. He's showing that probably in another couple of seasons, he's going to be an all-star. He's going to be an all-star. When he puts it all together, he's going to be an all-star. So I'm giving him an A minus B plus because he's still figuring it out, but he's right where you would want him to be. The number 4, number 5 pick right there at the top of the lottery of the draft. He's looking like a future all-star. You really can't ask for more than that. He's buying into the team. He's buying into the system. He's doing what you need him to do. The next guy is Asar Thompson. I already mentioned before, he's turning into point Asar. I love that. I love that. We know he's a dynamic two-way player. He's showing this really dope kind of like getting downhill ability where he's either putting the ball behind his back, he's spinning, but he's showing with his footwork and agility and much improved handle. He can get to the rim at any time. He can get to his spots, wherever he wants to get to. And then when he gets to the rim, he's now finishing with this kind of like left hand, like he changes speeds and slows down. And after kind of like bullying his defender and kind of shrugging him off, he kind of finishes over the top with his left. I love that. At the rim too, if he's not just dunking on your head, right? So this is tremendous. And so I think he's trending in the right direction as well. I can easily see in the next 2 years, he's becoming an all-star player, right? His jump shot is coming along. He's knocking down threes. He's showing great confidence with that. I want him to keep it up, keep knocking it down. Show me you can knock down a 3 a game, 2 threes in a game like Ron Holland. On top of all the other skills, I love it. His facilitation, he can set the table, initiate offense. He can grab and go. Great defense, all of that. He did get a little slim. He did lose some weight. I kind of want to see him to put that back on because his team needs physicality, but All that's to say is he's trending in the right direction. I give him an A minus so far in this limited amount of time. The next guy is Jalen Duren. Now, this is the enigma here. And this is where a lot of this comes to a head for a lot of fans. He has been struggling. He has been up and down. He's probably been the most inconsistent piece of this core. And people are clamoring for someone else. They're like, hey, get us anybody else. People are throwing out there Nikola Vucevic. I'm laughing because Nikola Vucevic, is 32 years old? Let me just triple check. He's 32, 30. No, I'm sorry. He's 34 years old. He's over 10 years older than Cade Cunningham. Why would you trade 20? I don't even want to get into that. You're wrong. Stop. Just stop. Just stop. You're not trading him for Nikola Vucevic. Sorry. Nikola Vucevic has got one more year playing at this level. One more year playing at his current level. 2 at the most, and he's done. And then what are you going to do? Look for another center like Jalen Duren? And if Jalen Duren continues to trend and figure it out over the next year or two, and all of a sudden he's averaging 18 and 12, which is highly possible, then all of a sudden you're going to be like, well, why did we get rid of him? Well, because y'all was stuck on stupid, okay? Let me just be real. All this to say is I get it. He's frustrating. One game, he looks amazing. Great energy. He's flying around. He gets his verticality. He's blocking shots. He gets 3-4 blocks in a game, right? He's rebounding like crazy. He's all over the place. And we're like, whoa, this is who we've been waiting to see. And the next game is a total dud. Hey, he's 21 years old. When I was 21 years old, I struggled with being consistent. I struggled with the professionalism of showing up each and every day at my best and performing at a high level. He's 21 years old, right? Hanging out with Angel Reese, right? If I'm 21 and I'm kicking it with Angel Reese, I'm probably not as focused either, especially if my team is playing the most games in the NBA at the time, right? I'm 6'10", 260 pounds, right? I've got millions of dollars for the first time, kicking it with Angel Reese. I'm in Detroit. You know what? I probably have a lot of other thoughts going through my head other than, hey, let me get in early for some treatment before the game. Not everyone's going to be Kobe. Not everyone's going to be super locked in. And I think that's okay because this can also play into the Detroit Pistons' favor. If he gets extended at the end of this season, having an okay season, hey, he's figuring it out still, and they get away with paying him, let's say, $22 million a year extension, 25, 26 million a year, which is probably around the area of what he's worth in terms of his potential and what he's shown at the age of 21, right? He'll go into next season at 21. That can be a steal for the Detroit Pistons. That can be a complete steal because what's going to end up happening is that you're going to be able to bet on he is going to outperform his contract over the longevity of that contract. If he signs a 5-year deal I would gamble over the last 3 years of that contract, he will have highly outperformed, almost to like a Miles Turner, where he becomes one of the best contracts that everybody wants because they're like, yo, look what he's doing. And he's only getting paid that. All right. The next guy I want to go to is Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart, look, I appreciate his game. I appreciate everything about him. Right now, he is the epitome of Detroit basketball. He is the culture bearer for this team, what he brings to the table every single night. Granted, he's only getting paid $15 million a year. That is an absolute steal for the Detroit Pistons because he's someone who is more than viable as a backup center. He can probably even play some power forward. I would like them to experiment more with that, especially against some of these bigger teams like the Boston Celtics or even the Milwaukee Bucks. Hey, let's go big. I wasn't mad at that. Some of y'all were mad at that last season. And I said, I understood. Look, check the old videos. I said they're on to something because as big as the league is getting, when you look at what the Minnesota Timberwolves were doing, when you look at what the now New York Knicks have to offer in terms of bigs, when you look at teams that boast, 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot, the Dallas Mavericks, they got dual, 6'11", 7'1", centers. You can't only have a 6'10" and 6'9" front court. You can't. And if you do, they better play big as hell. And you better have somebody behind him with some 7'1" height. That's why I wanted James Wiseman there. And had he stayed healthy this year, I think a lot of y'all would think so too. But Isaiah Stewart, he's doing his thing. I want him to keep shooting threes, working his inside-out game. I think he's going to round into form, and we're going to see closer to what we did last year in terms of consistency offensively and shore up his fouls. So I give him probably a B. He's solid. He's solid. Then Marcus Sasser. He's finally getting his minutes. He's showing he's still a bucket. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. Though he's probably the best secure ball handler and shot creator on the team, I would say more than even Cade. Like, that ball security in Marcus Sasser's hands is far more secure than in Cade or Ivey's hands. He is probably the most secure with the ball and able to create his own shot and get to his spots at any time. He's a consistent shooter. He's a straight up bucket getter, and that is so vital off the bench for this team. I want him to continue to man that role. I'm a big fan of Marcus Sasser. I think he's getting probably about a B plus, A minus, because he's rounding into form. I think he was struggling early, new role, kind of figuring out all these new guards, and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley wasn't getting the playing time that he probably felt he deserved after the rookie year that he had. But I get it. He's rounding into form. Love it. Love it. Then you have my man, Ron Holland. I said in videos earlier, this was the guy for the Detroit Pistons, and 100%, this is the guy. He's the guy. He's the guy. He is 100% the guy. I love his game. I love his tenacity. I love his dogged approach to the game. He competes at every stance, even though I get kind of tired of him always complaining at the refs, despite being a rookie. You know what? Hey, you know what? Compete so hard that you're mad at any moment you're not getting the call, the play. I just want you to keep playing. But hey, you know what? Let it eat you up, because I know that you're competing. I know that you're going for it. I know that you desire to maximize every opportunity you have to win. I respect it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Ron Holland, I'm giving him an A for a rookie. The fact that he's getting meaningful minutes, he is contributing regularly to this team. Yeah, he gets tired at times, but it's a marathon 82-game season. It's going to take every rookie a while to get used to the NBA. Shoot, Reed Shepherd is still getting used to the NBA, right? Montes Buzelis is barely getting minutes, right? Ron Holland is contributing. He's showing his three-point range. He's knocking it down. You see the hard work. He's working on it. He's getting even more confident in terms of getting downhill and getting to the basket. I think in the second half of the season, I fully expect Ron Holland, Marcus Sasser, the first guards off the bench. All in all, I give the core an A minus, because they are trending in the right direction, which is what you want to see from your core. Trend in the right direction. Keep developing. Keep getting better. Now, when you look at these supportive pieces, and I'm probably going to do a part 2 on the supporting cast for the Detroit Pistons, and I'll probably drop it after this. So I tell you what, I'm going to stop here, I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to do the video right after this. All that's to say, at the end of the day, you know what it is. I want to know what you all think. Let me know what you think about the core for the Detroit Pistons. Let me know what you think about the direction that they're going in, and what grades you would give them. Holler at me in the comment section, and I'm going to get at y'all back. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.